How's she going, boys? Welcome back to Grandpa's Workshop. Today's project, whoa baby, it's a fueling project. Behind the barn here, I'm going to show you in a minute, I have a tank set up on the side of the barn that I purchased my gas in town. I bring it out in 20-liter jugs. I dump it into this holding tank, and then I siphon off the holding tank using only gravity and siphon to fill my machinery, like the ATVs, the lawnmowers, the gas, the lawn tractors. It's just gas in this tank. But that's what we use, this little storage tank I have in the back of the barn. The problem that we ran into today was my wife was out trying to fuel up the lawn tractor to go cut the lawn, and she couldn't get fuel to run out of it. Strange, because the outlet that she was holding the hose was lower than the level of fuel in the tank, but it wouldn't flow. So I went and checked it, sure enough, wouldn't go. Some time ago I had tried to mount an apparatus on the outlet of the tank to hold a fuel filter so that I could filter the fuel as it comes out of this storage tank before I put it in my machines. Well, that was a fail. Turns out that to get the fuel to flow through this filter, it needed to be pressurized. The filter would be, the restriction of the filter was such that it wouldn't allow it to siphon through. So that was a failure. So I took that fuel filter out. So I just have the empty can on there now. And today, the fuel wouldn't flow. So I don't know what's up with it. So we're going to go have a look and see what we can discover. And that's the project today, to fix my bulk storage gas fuel system. Okay guys, there we have the my setup. There's my tank with the hose and all. So here's the way we fill fuel. First step is we take this cap off. There. Put that down there out of the way. And the reason I do that is so, as you know, when you're siphoning out of a container, you got to have air come in to get fluid out. And then we take our hose, our fill hose, and we put it in our little bucket. And if you can hear that, the fuel is flowing right now. And of course, the higher you are to the level in the tank here, the less you would expect the pressure to be in the fuel. But we had a good, I don't know, 6-8 inches of level difference, and it still wouldn't come out of the nozzle. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be step one. Is I'm going to drain a little fuel out of those tanks into these jerry cans, and then I'm going to try to get that tank off the wall. So I'll come back, show you what that looks like. The canister here where the filter went is filled with fuel. I don't want to spill that fuel anywhere, so I come up with I wasn't sure I was going to drain that. I was going to open the caulk at the end here and drain it out that way, but I figured that would just go, well, I would never go in my container. And then I just thought, look, if I open this valve here, if I open that valve, and if I stand this up like that, there's the fuel draining into the tank. So that was a good solution to that little problem. So here's the fuel filter cap removed. The entrance to that is clear, and when you look in the ends here, everything is just clear, clean as anything. It looked like Mr. Clean was in there. And if you look down in here, you can see the ball valve and my shutoff valve, and watch when I open that, see if that's clear. Shunk, there it is. Boys, oh boys. You can see right into the tank. Okay, we took the nozzle off. The entrance to the nozzle looks clean. The hose itself, that's clean. And when I blow through the hose, absolutely no restriction there. None to speak of anyways. No reason why fuel couldn't flow through that. The nozzle here, it's hard to see in with the camera, but I can look into that and I can see that that valve is all clear. I'm going to try blowing in this now. Watch this. I don't know if you could hear that or not. I don't want to do it a lot because I don't like to taste the fuel. But that was wide open. So there's no restrictions anywhere, folks. I don't know why we weren't running fuel. But anyway, a mystery. But I always say, I worked in maintenance all my life, and I always said, for every problem, there is a solution. And So like nothing happens just cause. That stuff just doesn't happen. So there was no fuel coming out of this siphon. So there was a reason why that didn't happen, and I didn't find out what the reason was. So I'm kind of nervous. When I put this back together, it's probably going to fail again in the future. But that's what we're going to do, start putting her back together. So here we have the hose. The end of it is all cleared off. We're going to put Teflon tape on it. And the Teflon tape I'm using, it's, where do I get you here? Right there. You can see that. It's proper Teflon for gas and fuel lines. So that's what we're using for the Teflon. It's a yellow color. That's how you can tell. And of course, when you're putting Teflon on a fitting, you should put it the way the fitting's going to screw on to the male part. Because if you wrap it, say if you wrapped it this way, when you put your female fitting on it, it tends to unwrap the Teflon. So since the female is going to go in a clockwise direction looking at it from the top, that's the way we'll wrap the Teflon tape. In a clockwise direction. And we'll just put a quick little wrap around here. And we don't want to go over the edge too much because we don't want to plug the hole, because that's part of our problem. So that ought to do it. Now we take our nozzle, and the nozzle is all clean. This part of the nozzle, the female part, swivels a little bit to help you line it up. So we're just going to put that on there and start that. And you don't want to put this on here like at 1,000 foot-pounds, but you want to make sure it's tight because you don't want leaks, right? So that's just something you got to play by ear. There. I like that. So that's that end. I'm going to clean the, here you go. I'm going to clean the Teflon tape off of this end, do the same thing with it, but it goes in the fitting out at the tank. So we'll be back outside of the tank to get that one geared up. So I got the close nipple off, and I thought I'd also take this stop valve out. I had it loosened, so I take that out. That's all clear too. Because I think now is a good chance to flush the tank a little bit, because there's some sediments and whatnot in the tank. So I'm going to do that. I have a pan here on the ground, and I'm just going to flush my tank. Good idea to clean that dirt out of it. Any chance you get to clean it, you should. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, here's my tank. Oop, I get a hold of it here. Emptying it into my drain pan, and there was quite a bit of fuel left in it. But anyways, it looks pretty clean now. Time for some assembly. I have my stop valve here with new Teflon tape on it, and I'm going to thread it in to the bung here. And again, because my barrel is only plastic, I don't want this to be so tight that it'll never move. And I want the valve to shut off on the top, so that'll do me. Alright, the elbow is back in the shutoff. What I'm going to do now is put the fill hose into the shutoff, because I'm not putting the filter piece back on. Put the hose in there, and then I'll set it up on the stand and strap her down, and then route the hose. Alright, so here's what we ended up with. The tank is strapped in good and tight. She won't move now. My fill pipe here, and then the outlet right here comes out of the tank through the shutoff valve, and the shutoff valve just works as slick as that, through this LB, and then down below, if you can see in there, kind of dark, but I put a strap on there to hold that 2x4, and then I just loop the hose up around, put another strap on there, and then loop it down and around and back up to my hanger. So the next step, just to see if this works, just by taking the filter off, is really the only change I made, the filter holder. I'm going to put that fuel back in it, and I'm going to bring, I don't know, the lawn tractor out here and just see if I can put a little bit of fuel in it, see if it runs. Wish me luck. So there's the tank with about, I don't know, 18 liters of fuel in it. Fill her up to here. So that's going to be a good test. It's not too high in the tank, so when we bring the lawn tractor out, the difference of the levels won't be so great, and that'd be a good test to see if the siphon part works. Alright folks, here we are back filling up the lawn tractor with fuel. Changed my shirt, you may have noticed. It's as hot as a $2 pistol here today, and my other shirt was soaked, so I needed to change it. So anyways, here's my tank. Shut-off valve. Shut-off valve open. Not observing any leaks. That's always a good thing. And my lawn tractor with the tank right here. So I take my hose down. Now this is sort of the situation where it wouldn't work before. And we'll see what happens. Now the hose was empty, so I need to wait for it to fill up. But there's the fuel, boys. She's running just as slick as snot in a rooster's lip. And that's just about enough of that. The tank is full. So, it works now. The only thing I did was I took the fuel filter off. And I have no idea why that would have caused any problem, but that's the only difference. So, anyways, we got my fuel delivery system is back in operation. Hope you enjoyed the video. I don't understand. If you've got any ideas of why you think this wasn't working before and it is now, please put them in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. And until the next Grampy's workshop project, we'll talk to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I like that part of it.